I think it's important to continue to talk about antinatalism because we live in a very funny world. All day long, people are avoiding death and perpetuating life, which is ironic because life ultimately ceases to exist for all of us through death. The goal of all life is death, as the homie Sigmund Freud once said. Every day, whether we know it or not, it seems we're only getting closer to that goal that may really be the only goal in this life. It's really interesting that humans have subjected their whole lives to surviving, and doing so in such demanding ways. We work, we run around the world, we reduce the time we're allotted in this lifetime just to adhere to very frivolous activities. Work, which interestingly enough has not in this lifetime, or as it seems will ever in the future, be work that mitigates our fears of death. Work that we subjugate ourselves to that never seems to produce a product that will aid in the continuous life we strive for every day. Work that stresses and simultaneously kills us as we relinquish our precious time to it so that we can survive. It's ironic, it's funny, it's weird, it's pointless. At some time, we have to realize all this runaround to live is just a runaround, a continuous cycle of bringing more life to avoid our inevitable fear of death, and never doing anything legitimately in this life so that we can no longer fear death. If human lives matter, the activity of death wouldn't be so rampant and initiated. By now, with all of our advancements, you'd think we'd have a solution to our worries. Seems like humans just have a way of feeling the need to induce our common fear, death, all the time, with no logical end. If you or someone you know is so afraid of death, how about not bringing more life in a world where they will ultimately die? We could all start there. But hey, don't listen to me, I'm only using common sense. Maybe that sense of understanding isn't actually so common. I'm no doctor, but I think given my experience, I'm qualified to self-diagnose and diagnose everyone on this planet with thanatophobia. What is thanatophobia? Thanatophobia is an intense fear of death or the dying process. Another name for this condition is death anxiety. You might be anxious about your own death or the death of someone you care about. Thank you, Cleveland Clinic, for the definition. As I mentioned in the intro, antinatalism is vital to talk about because we live in a world that is conditioned to believe that producing life is a good thing. Despite all of our complaints, despite our ongoing struggles to survive and suffering we experience, as well as the inevitable death that follows for all life, there's such cheer about bringing life in this death-ridden world. Not just death-ridden, but a suffering, corruptive, violent, limited world. We could go in detail, but you already know the vibes. It's honestly wicked at this point for anyone to reproduce, in my eyes, given everyone's fear of death. We're anxious about the topic all day long. To those that insist on breeding and bringing more life in this world, what makes you so okay with having someone experience something you're afraid of? Death. Natalists and those brainwashed by the idea of natalism have never died, never know when their child will die, and knowing that all lives end are just okay with bringing life to the world and then doing the absolute most to avoid the death in which they prompted themselves. Make it make sense for the love of God. The incessant issue with humans, especially those that embrace the status quo of life, is that they believe that the birth of new people is a good thing. What they don't really want to talk about is their fetishism for babies. Humans in this world don't thoroughly care for other humans, but we love the little babies just for a short time. That's simply the only thing that motivates people in this world. That's the only thing humans look forward to, is some semblance of new life, or something that symbolizes this life can continue. But we all know the end of all of our stories, yet our anxieties around our inevitable demise forces many to subject their genes and their efforts into producing more life, just for a moment, just for a temporary moment. But the anxiety can never leave, because as long as there's life, as long as people feel the need to produce life, they need not forget the consequence that follows, the consequence that will always occur. I have to empathize with everyone on this strange planet, because we were all coerced into this life, and into this life that grants us death when it's all over. None of these events will typically be in our control. It's kind of scary. And then to recall all of what we know, all that we will ever know is our experience in this life. All we know is that from the beginning of our lives, we had to fend for our survival, not even knowing our own abilities to cry, to express our hunger to live. We were coerced into these feelings of having to live. All of us, poor babies, having to extract resources as long as we lived in order to survive, because that was all we knew. That was all our instincts, our biology would allow us to grasp for a long time, for years ongoing, forever. That was and will, as long as we live, be our destiny, our will to survive. All of this embedded in our DNA or information system without much or probably none of our consent. This coercion to exist, this force of life on all of us, and then to find later on that we would all die. Another force seemingly out of our control. It's interesting how powerless we are, and yet we are told we have some making in any of this. Sometimes I think, if I knew then as a sperm child what I know now, would I be willing to accept this hunger to live, or would I simply starve to death? Maybe the question is all this life stuff worth it? Really, when it comes with a cost, when it is constructed around all these things neither I nor you had any say in. This democracy that mutes the voices of the people, all of us coerced into it. The costs of this coercion to exist and to pay for it and to be thrilled about it, it's overwhelming. Work, medication, fun times, distractions, activities to avoid death, that's all we do. Very simple-minded pursuits that never truly challenges or solves our issue with death. Work is the killer of all. It starts in school, when we are objectified into a small space and told what to do with the limited time we have, believing this system of school is meant to support us, when after it is all over, we were told to indebt ourselves further in this system, extracting our resources, taking more of our time, of our hopes, of our faith in this life, in any system that is alleged to help and support those here. Lies. Then to work and continue to work, saving for retirement so that one day we can spend our lives no longer working. The irony, the contradiction. Time is not on our side, and we have no problem giving it over to some system that has no issue reducing our time to currency, numbers, exploiting our passions, our abilities, our time to do work that does nothing. Tasks that never address the issue face to face work that is supposed to be the topic of conversation, when all day we're talking about the ways in which we can live more, have a more life-work or work-life balance, sustain a life in which is ours, yet we're dying at these jobs, quite literally or gradually. It's happening. This ongoing cycle, 9 to 5, all of us producing something, but not enough to mitigate or eliminate our ultimate fear. Yet this work is supposed to support our lives, and it will never do anything about the topic of death. And yet we're here. We're always there, trying to support ourselves, make a living, when it only kills everything. And then the pills and the injections and the avoidance of diseases, the price they put on life, on a cure, the glass box that holds the potion for us to go on for just a little while longer, the bottles that keep us alive, all of that comes with a cost too. All of those bottles reminding us that this death thing is here. It's in this pink pill, it's in this cylindrical shaped antidote, it's prescribed. Death is the prescription, and these pills are just the evidence of our anxieties behind this death. All of these bottles that amount to no cure for it, death. Just remedies to hold off the finale for just a little bit longer. Where is the cure to death? I still wonder. Marriage, vacations, creating of life, birthing of life, staring at a screen, appearing in front of screens, oh, the many distractions. All of them have some validity, sure, but with all of these distractions, they seem to outweigh the resolution of what we're all distracting ourselves from in the first place. Death, ultimately. Isn't it what we do all of these very unique things for? Might as well, right? All we have is our limited time to do things. But the one thing we can't avoid, we've never taken the time to look at square on, only just expend ourselves, our energy, our funny money, our time perpetually to a system that is designed to distract us from what we could all be trying to solve, the issue of death in the first place. But it's not in my nature or in my ability to tell anyone what to do. Why should I care? Why should anyone care, right? To live means to live, right? Not to live for temporary jobs, contradicting systems, or limiting situations, right? Do people really live? Are we allotted the full capacities of life? Or are we deceived into believing we have the full rights of our life? I think the latter. And it's crazy because we subject ourselves to the bounds of our existence, never truly free. And then we have the magnitude to destroy, to obliterate the lives of other people, and still have the greedy gall to expect more life in a world where we have no issues taking one out. The hypocrisy of our freedom to live when humans have such ability and contradiction of the palate to proclaim more life and not live for oneself, to proclaim more life and not care for those that are here, to proclaim more life and to kill and to kill and to kill and to end life. And yet, the terror we have around the death thing, the naivete of our perception of its weight, maybe it's weightless, maybe it's a heavy burden. The contradiction of our understanding of it permeates in every way as we continue to kill, destroy, limit, and subject ourselves to the bounds of existence, never allowing ourselves to exist truly, never exploring the root of this existence to begin with, simply just going along with the subjectivity of humanity or something, complacent with answers, stagnant with solutions, and pervasive in destruction, and still we fear the inevitable as if or doing anything progressive about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I just wanted to quickly say that I plan on uploading chapter 4 of the refusal of work. I just have some things that I really want to add in this chapter, reviewing it and everything. And it's a really good chapter. I believe it's the stronghold of work. So I really want to make sure I get all of the pieces I want to include in that video for you. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Great, bye.